Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio. That's AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. All right. And welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees, San Francisco 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome in everybody else up and down the West Coast on your network affiliates or independents, wherever you're listening, as well as through the heartland of the Midwest, all the way down to Auburn, Alabama, WAUD. That's home of the Atlanta Braves. And, of course, a big hello to our friends over in Atlanta on WDJY 99.1 FM. All right, also, I want to extend out a big hello to our friends on streamers. That also includes Facebook on Chicago Food Favorites. Check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Fun group, lots of great restaurants and recipes and all kinds of great ideas. Talk about your favorite foods there. Go ahead and join. But remember, don't spam the group because I'm the administrator, if you know what I mean. All right. Back here talking a little bit of music. And honestly, look, at the top of the show, we have to think about our topics of which way we want to go sometimes. And, you know, a lot of this, frankly, folks, this is unscripted, which is really the best part about this whole thing that we do here on the Sports Circus. And quite frankly, when you think about the different shows that are out there and the content in which they prepare for you, a lot of times it's scripted by the sponsors. The sponsors want to see this. That's why they're paying millions of dollars or whatever it is. So what we want to do is we want to appease them. Not in this show, no! That's not what we do here. We kind of go the direction that the wind blows us. And in this particular case, it's really about the correlation of music and sport and the culmination, how they work with one another, how are they similar, etc. and so forth. And now, according to the RoseBowlInstitute.org, music and sports share commonalities such as performance before large crowds, extreme followership and fandom, and the need to perform at the very highest levels over and over. They also offer similar opportunities to the public, appreciation for high accomplishment, inspiration to do better in one's personal life, and at times escape from daytime troubles. I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people use that. And frankly, I listen to the music. I listen to the radio all day long. I mean, the TV is the TV. We get the same message over and over and over. I mean, everybody watching here on television, well, guess what? You're not getting the same message over and over. But you know what I'm saying. If you watch, pick your favorite channel, you're either going to see a rerun of a rerun, or you're going to see the same news story that's on channel A, B, C, D, or E, or F, all the way down through the alphabet. So that's not what we do here. So it's really kind of flying by the seat of your pants, off the cuff, a little shotgun, and it's fun. But remember, music is also integral at times to sporting events. So the old take me out to the ball game, for example, it's a part of every Major League Baseball game, right? Seventh inning stretch. In addition to the national anthem, more music. Most football games include a what? a marching band show at halftime. Fight songs. These are the college games, the high school games. Absolutely love those aspects of it. Look, all combined to bring the crowd more into the game. And let's face it, when you go to these college games or even the high school games, chances are if you're there, you got a dog in the fight. A little bit different than the pro games, which I really prefer the college games myself. But I mean, even when it comes to college and professional basketball, those games often have bands at the games, kind of a smaller version than the football games. And they, of course, pump up the players and the fans. I mean, think about my beloved Blue Devils from Duke University. Our basketball fans, for example, rock to Devil with a Blue Dress, of course, after every victory. Yes! And other rock and hip-hop songs inspire athletes everywhere. Probably no sport incorporates music like soccer or football, I guess, if you're outside the United States of America. And, of course, it's the, for example, We Are One, Ole, Ole, one of those things. Ole, 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 Ole. Okay, I don't sing, so kind of get over it if you know what I mean. That's right. That's the ability that I have when it comes to singing, so forget it. Anyway, look, teams are even named for music genres. In case you didn't realize this, think back to the old, NBA's Utah, the former New Orleans Jazz, which had migrated over to Utah. And, of course, the St. Louis Blues. Those are prime examples, of course. And if you look at the Blues, a lot of people call them the Blue Notes. So if you look at their logo, what do you have? Well, you've got a musical note right there on their crest, right on every jersey. So look, music can also convey sports elements and emotions. I mean, think about this. How about the theme for Rocky, right? And that is the key of Sal, if you know what I mean. I was told that by Jason Owens one time when I picked up the guitar, and he said, "Hey, you got a guitar back there?" And I said, "Yeah, right here in my studio. I've got a couple of them. Got a Gibson Les Paul, got a Schecter." And he said, "Go ahead, grab that thing." And so I grabbed it, and it wasn't plugged in, but I wanted to see if just how badly it was out of tune. So I picked it up and just trying to strum something basic like a basic G major. And I was like, oh my God, this thing's off. He goes, "Oh, no, it's not off. It's tuned to the key of Sal." No. Anyway, but think about that. I mean, really, the themes for Rocky, and how about the Chariots of Fire? They communicate a striving for success. Every time we hear these songs, we say, all right, every time I hear maybe Survivor and Eye of the Tiger, right? I think of Rocky 3 and even parts of Rocky 4, I believe too. I think it's more of a Survivor singing for the Rocky music or for the Rocky movies. Nonetheless, this is kind of what we get. And think about it. As we're striving for that commensurate, incredible amounts of success and the stories and the songs that they accompany, and they use songs like Wild Thing in the movie Major League. I mean, look, these are iconic songs for the film industry when they've been scored into those films. There's a neat phrase for everybody in case you don't know what that is. But now the Rose Bowl Institute, think about this. In case you don't know, real quick here, no place is more fitting to address these overlaps than the Rose Bowl Institute. And of course, the Rose Bowl is not only a venerated historical venue for sporting events, of course, including a couple of Olympics, 2 World Cups, and the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl game, but has hosted some of the most popular musical acts in the world, such as the Rolling Stones, BTS, Coldplay, Taylor Swift, and Kenny Chesney, as well as memorable marching band performances and competitions. In fact, later on, we're going to talk to Jason Owens a little bit about one of those events that occurred at the Rose Bowl. Ironically, it just happens to be. And I went to a concert that had 110,000 people at the Rose Bowl in 1988. What an incredible scene. Mercy. What a great experience. I'll never, ever forget it. What a phenomenal experience. Of course, a nice round of applause for the bands, which you'll hear about in just a few moments here. But ultimately, folks, we have to think of that there is absolutely a tie. Now look, according to the Rose Bowl Institute, proposed a create a center on sports and music. And this center will engage in a variety of activities aimed at 1, assessing positive relationships between sports and music, and 2, highlighting and encouraging ways that music can enhance sportsmanship, and 3, other relevant aspects of sports and entertainment interaction. Now, if you're thinking about the idea of assessing positive relationships between sports and music, well, studies have shown that music can be a positive influence on athletic performance, in case you didn't know that. It can relax or inspire the athlete before performing. Indeed, one study shows 5 ways that music can affect sports preparation and or performance. Let's face it, dissociation, arousal, regulation, synchronization, acquisition of motor skills, and attainment of flow. So there's a lot going on here, folks. Look, aside from science, athletes often cite music as enhancement of the sporting experience itself. So the Institute will explore the therapeutic and inspiring aspects of music on sports in its programming via the Rose Table Dialogues. How about that? 25 experts, leaders, musicians, and athletes around the Rose Table, kind of like a big round table, to address simple issues of sports and music and recommended ways to enhance positive athletic experiences via music. Stream panel and appearances of these issues in other institutes. Oh, yeah, and this goes on and on, folks. This is really exciting stuff. So if you thought that there was no correlation between them, you may be sadly mistaken, because there is a direct correlation between music and sport. Believe me, folks, it's there. Back here in a few minutes on the Circus. Don't go anywhere.
Can you feel the slow burn as you press against my lips? Your sweetness overtakes me, I'm okay with giving in.
We're a lot different, I ain't looking for the same.
Come a little closer, babe, I wanna play this game.
You're my whiskey,
You're my wine, I wanna feel your body next to mine. Tangled up in the bedsheets, mixing Chardonnay and country. Get me tipsy tonight, I'll drink you up until the sunrise. Wanna wake up with you by my side, mixing whiskey and wine. Be heaven sent. Red lip stain still there from yesterday. You and me, we go together, there's just no other way.
you're my whiskey,
You're my wine, I wanna feel your body next to mine. Tangled up in the bedsheets, mixing Chardonnay and country. Get me tipsy tonight, I'll drink you up until the sunrise. Wanna wake up with you by my side, mixing whiskey and wine.
sweet for all that fire. whiskey.
You're my wine. I wanna feel your
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV mobile studio. That's AAMP Television. This segment is brought to you by the music of Jason Owens, and here to tell you all about that music is Jason Owens. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am a country music artist, and I have lots of country songs that you should check out.
Where can we check them out?
You can check them out on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you stream music.
All right. And there, a big round of applause would come for that. It's just that we're in the mobile studio, and right now, folks, the applause is just in our hearts. That's all. All right. So, we're talking about sound. How do we create a fat sound for stage and for studio? There's a big difference. What does that look like to you? What does that mean to you when you hear a fat sound?
I think that just means that, you have a good bass player, drummer locked in real good, and then just stacks of guitars, good harmonies. For in country music, we add the fiddle and steel to add a little bit of texture in there too. Just make it work.
Okay, so what about enriching the sound? So in other words, sometimes you'll have a guitar player that says, oh man, that sounds really chunky. What does that mean to you?
Chunky, I guess like thick, like I think of like a Les Paul, through a Marshall kind of thing,
Okay.
Lots of distortion.
All right, so what does that do for the audience when they hear that fatter sound?
Well, if they like more energy, they're not trying to, just feel a song. I think that just to me personally, I like that sound, like the just big rock guitars.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of thing going on.
Jason, it doesn't have to be a up-tempo song. It can be just a sound. It could be a ballad, right?
Sure.
Think of big rock ballads.
Yeah.
Right, and sometimes
November Rain, something like that.
Well,
Yeah.
November Rain,
Yeah.
or go back to a band we had on our show. One of our favorites is Night Ranger, and so we had Brad Gillis on the show, and Brad, just a great storyteller on all of the things that he's experienced. But we think of like Sister Christian from Night Ranger. I mean, the classic's classic, and it's been featured in so many movies and everything else. But the sound that they were able to get out of those guitars was just incredible. How do they do that and make it sing to the people through in ballads versus through something up tempo? What does that mean to you?
I mean, it's just different tones. Like in country music, a lot of the faster stuff, we're playing Telecasters, bright bridge pickups, bright amps, and then if you're playing like a more soulful kind of thing, I probably switch to the neck pickup and just have a little bit of gain, a little bit of delay on there, like through a Marshall or something like that, and just
By some big humbuckers.
Yeah, some big humbuckers. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, folks, the reason I'm asking this is because you may like a particular upbeat song or a slower beat song, something at slower tempo. You may like it, but you may not really realize what it is that you like about it. And sometimes you say, wow, I can feel it. It kind of goes through me. And as Jason and I were talking about just a little while ago at In-N-Out Burger, we were talking about, yes, and no, In-N-Out doesn't give us any free food, but we just like it, so we're going to mention it anyway. But anyway, what'd you have, by the way?
I just had a burger and a chocolate shake, some fries. You had the triple.
I had a triple. Come on, man. You got to get a triple. That's how we do these things, right? So we think of fat sound. We think of fat burgers, too, right? So a double-double was enough. Gave me the triple. And it was good. Folks, if you want to see a picture, I do have a picture. Just email me at info@thesportscircus.com. Anyway, all right, back to the fat sound. And so a lot of times people will feel music and they say, it just went through me. How does it go through you? Well, and it goes through you with maybe you could have a really good lead, a really good rhythm person. I won't say guy because there's a lot of women out there too that are playing. Mm-hmm. So you could have that, or even dueling leads. What do you think about the idea of dueling leads?
I love dueling leads. In our show, our live show, my fiddle player and I do a lot of dueling leads actually on certain songs. And on my original song, Drunk Dial, you can actually hear that. We got a fiddle solo, and then my guitar solo comes in. We go back to the fiddle solo, kind of thing. And it's musicality, It's pretty cool.
The idea of drunk dialing always makes me laugh because, it happens to everybody, right? Everybody has at some point been drunk dialed, or you have drunk dialed somebody. And I've been more on the receiving side because I don't do a lot of drinking, but not these days. Back in my younger days, I got a head full of, some hair anyway. So back when I had more hair on my head, like this guy over here that's got enough hair for a family of 4, we think about, what is the idea of a drunk dial? It's like, look, you're desperate, right, for something, and you need some kind of attention or something, right? That's really what it's about. And I kind of like that song. I mean, it's a great title, but if you listen to the words, folks, Jason has some very clever lyrics, and you do all your own songwriting, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely have a part in the co-write if it's not completely my just creation of what I did myself. But most of the songs are written completely by me, but I got a couple that we co-wrote too.
Okay. Well, that's good stuff. See, and a lot of people don't know that. And what does it take? I'm going to shift over to that real quick because, we did talk briefly about the fat sound idea, but when you're writing a song, I won't say how difficult is it, because my cousin, for example, he's a songwriter, and he never studied music formally. Mm-hmm. So he would have a word in his mind, like a one-syllable word. You say, I kind of want it to sound like this. So he would search up and down the fretboard and find the right tone that he's looking for.
Okay.
And he would do it word by word in that way. Seems a little tedious, but if you've never been trained formally, how do you do yours? Because typically people do what? They lay the vocal on the track. Do you write the track first, or do you play the track first, or figure that part out?
Yeah, so usually I write the music first, lay the track down, and then sing the vocal. Mm-hmm. Actually, I take that back. Usually I start with acoustic guitar, scratch vocal. Then we come back and add the final vocal at the end.
Yeah, a lot of people ask about that piece of it, and out of the songwriters that I know, it's kind of a mixed bag. But a lot of them, ultimately, they end up laying the vocal on the track and then, doing their mixing and so forth from the studio side. But what if you're doing something on the fly, if you're at a venue? Now, you've played Vegas, 140 odd times.
Yeah.
And out of all the times that you've played, if you just said, I'm going to go ahead and experiment with the sound that I've got right here. I've never played this one in a studio, never tried to record it because you have professional videos and everything else. Mm-hmm. But have you ever just gotten on stage and said, I'm going to try to roll with this?
Oh yeah, I've definitely done that. If we're like working on something and just want to like try it out for the audience and see how they like it. Just decide if like we want to cut it or not. And it's a good way to experiment too. Because when you're playing live, sometimes you just get a better feel when you're playing live than when you're in the studio. So you can try things out and just see how people react to them.
Well, and what's cool about recording live is you have the dynamic of the audience too.
Yeah.
So you can hear their highs and lows or whatever it is. And I kind of like the idea of recording something in a live setting And I think of, look, I don't know a whole lot about country music.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody once said, hey, what do you know? And I said, I just remember a guy with a big black hat. Right? And they said, oh, yeah, that's Garth Brooks. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, whatever. I hear he's a big name.
Yeah.
I just don't know much about it.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, he sings this one song. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've heard that one. Right, because I couldn't pick his music out.
Everybody knows Friends in Low, right?
Right.
Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one, right? It's kind of like the national anthem for a bar or something, I guess. I don't know. But maybe that's why I heard it. But I guess my point is, I heard a recording of that song, or I heard it played, and the audience dynamic was in that audio, I guess, the radio station that played it. So I don't know if he recorded it live, whatever, but I did like that part of it because it really incorporated the audience. And I've been at concerts where they've taken a show, and I'll go back in the Wayback Time Machine to 1988, before you were born. And so I went to go see a group called Depeche Mode, and they had a really big concert at the Rose Bowl. There's 110,000 people there. And it was them and a band called OMD, another big deal back in the day, and Thomas Dolby, the old Blinded Me with Science thing from way back in the day. But I sat 7th row center in that one, because you don't want to be way in the back anyway, because it's just too hard to see anything. And what they did was they recorded a double CD of Depeche Mode 101. Why is this significant? Because the whole CD was live. It was everything live. There was no fix it and mix. They didn't do a damn thing besides what they were doing, which was just playing. That's it. And that CD double set was arguably one of the biggest sellers for that group, period. And people bought it. Why? Oh, that's right, because it was live. And the dynamic was incredible. And so this goes back to my question, and I always have this concert back into my mind. And I remember having that double CD with me. I took a trip down to the South Pacific, and here I am sitting on the island of Moorea, and I've got this playing in the background like, wow, this is really incredible music, and it's an incredible setting on top of it. And when you look at the setting, I'll tell you what, folks, when we come back from break, I want to talk a little bit about the setting and what that means, because it's a really special thing when you get into these. We're going to be back here in a few minutes with Jason Owens. Check him out at jasonowensmusic.com in just a few moments. Back here.
She's the cutest girl I've ever seen. When she's fighting mad, it's the funniest thing. Long hair, blue eyes, and a heart of gold. This is the one thing I want you to know. If you want a man that'll love you to the moon and back, never cheat, never lie, yeah, baby, none of that. But slow and steady wins the race. It's the thrill of the chase. Falling in love just ain't the same these days. We might start with a bottle of Jack. Maybe we won't need that. I gotta find a way to call her mine. I know sometimes you gotta take it slow and steady. She's like a locked up bank vault, and I'm trying to crack the code. She's a perfect 10. She's got nowhere else to go. Yeah, I'm trying to show her I'm the kind of man she wants. She's had some real losers and it's, but her defense is up. And I just wanna love her.
Hey
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV mobile studio, here with Jason Owens talking country music and about his skill set. This guy's got mad skills. Check him out at jasonowensmusic.com. And here to tell you a little bit more about Jason Owens Music is Jason Owens.
Hello, I am Jason Owens. You can check out my music wherever you stream music. Just type in Jason Owens on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever it may be. We're there.
All right, so Jason's kind of a low-key personality. I'm going to get some excitement out of this guy at some point yet. No, he's got some in him. He's just maybe a little stage fright. No, he's good. He's good. And folks, in fact, I've seen him live, and the boy can play. The boy can play. The people like him. They get up, they dance, they do all kind of fun stuff. And you got to check him out. In fact, next time you're in Vegas, you could probably see him there because he's going to be playing Vegas, and my best guess, a little bit more often, and some other venues, maybe throughout the Midwest. Now, you're Kentucky-based, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what is it about Vegas besides it's the entertainment capital of the world? What do you like about playing here?
You know, I feel like so many people come here, for vacations or to get away or whatever, and I meet lots of cool people out here that I would have not met, if I was just playing in Kentucky or Tennessee or wherever. It's just cool to come out here and meet the people, and it just kind of gets the music out all over the country, and even sometimes out of the country. Like a lot of people come from Canada too. So
okay, yeah, and I can see that because there's all kind of, and that cracking, by the way, that's Jason cracking his knuckles. All right.
Maybe Canada will be a part of our United States at some point.
Well, yeah, we never know. And we'll go there by way of the Gulf of America. If you know what I mean.
Let's go.
All right, hey, I'm okay with that because it's funny that I'm completely digressing, but it's funny you think about that. Well, it's through the Americas in the first place, is it not?
Yeah.
North America covers Central America, the Caribbean, whatever. It is the Americas, so get over it, folks. All right, so I asked about the Vegas thing because I think of live performances, and I left off in the last segment talking about a double CD set, et cetera, going down to the South Pacific, and I'm listening to this double CD set, and I'm on an incredible beach. It's just me at nighttime looking up at a billion stars, saying, is the Earth flat or what? No, I'm kidding. But I guess what I'm after are these fake? Am I going to fall off the edge of the Earth? But anyway, what I'm after is when you're in an isolated place, by choice, of course, and it's just an incredible spot, and you've got the incredible music in the incredible spot, and now you can go anywhere that your brain allows you to go. Those live performances makes you feel like you're actually at a venue, but your brain is elsewhere, if you know what I mean. I mean, in a very good way.
Yeah, definitely.
Think about, looking up in the sky, the Kentucky sky. It's nice and clear when there's no chemtrails, of course. Yeah. But it's nice and clear. You can see a billion stars, whatever. And your brain is allowed to travel at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So what message do you want to send to your audience members when they're maybe in that situation listening to your music in a live setting, if you record live, for example?
I would want to send the message that we have a good time at our shows, but there's also some serious moments, and feel like we don't have enough wholesome songs anymore. Everything's just
I got a big truck.
well, not even that. Just like shaking things and whatever.
Right. I got you.
You know, so
let's keep this a G-rated show.
We got our
folks.
song "Slow and Steady," and it's just kind of like an old school country love song. Finding that girl and settling down or whatnot. So I want to convey sincerity to the audience if they're listening to a live record, but also that we have fun.
Yeah, I think that's good. And it's outside of that part of it. You're one of the guys that really thinks about what you're writing, and I know that because I've listened. I'm like, you know what? I'm not the big country music guy, but I'll listen to certain artists because they really take the time to put some clever lyrics together. Something that actually has some meaning to it instead of, like I said, you got a big truck or all that other stuff. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's a big truck down the road. Okay, fine. So I got a big Ford truck or a Chevy truck or Dodge or whatever the hell it is. So be it. Isn't there more than a life than just that? I mean, honestly, I'd rather have like that triple that I just had at In-N-Out Burger. No, we don't get anything from In-N-Out Burger for saying this. I'm just saying, people always say, well, double, that's big. That ain't big. They actually have a 4x4, believe it or not.
We want something real. We don't want this fabricated. I have a truck and I got a blonde girl that is in a bikini in my back seat. Kind of like that's not what I want to convey at all.
Right. Well, we've got enough of that out there. I mean, let everybody else do that. And I mean, look, folks, I've been on this show. We've done over 2,100 episodes of this show. We've had some of the biggest names of sports and entertainment, business and politics on this show. It started out just music or just sports, and it's gone from music to music and film and business and science. And there are certain people we want to bring back. We're bringing back Jason because Jason's music is clever and it is thoughtful and it's thought-filled. And I think that's, as I see it, and I listen to it, this is what I hear out of your music. And I've listened to your music. I've listened to your catalog of music available on Spotify. And where else is it available?
Apple Music, YouTube, Tidal, all that stuff. Anywhere you stream music, any streaming platform.
So as you're playing club to club or venue to venue, do you have a song selection picked out per venue? Like this, I'm going to go to Las Vegas, so I'm going to play these types of music or these types of songs, or what is it when it comes to your selection? Or do you have a standard set?
Well, we have a pretty standard set. It changes, year to year, and it's pretty much the same. We might throw some curveballs in there depending on where we're at, but it's pretty much the same every time.
Okay. So what makes it from not being boring if you're playing the same set over and over?
I think it's just the connection with the audience.
Okay.
Every time we play those songs, we're getting tighter with them, and so they get better every night. And just if those people have never heard us play that song live, they probably are just drawn in by that.
Well, I'm sure when you play locally or regionally that you'll have a lot of you'll have your fans back. They'll come back.
Yeah.
And right?
Yeah.
And so my question then goes to, because there are a lot of bands that I've seen in concert, and I like when they mix it up and play some different stuff. I don't care if they cover other people's music, whatever. Because I'm just going because I like them.
Yeah.
And so people go because they like you. It doesn't matter what you're playing. I don't care if you're playing Mary Had a Little Lamb. They're still going to come out and support you because they like your stage presence. They like your fiddle player for sure. They like your drummer. They like everybody up there, right?
Yeah.
And you got a pretty cool bass player up there too, by the way.
Yeah.
I always see him wearing that LSU hat. What's up with that?
Yeah, he's LSU alumni. I think it's in his blood, man. He actually got to march in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Oh, really?
With the Tiger Band.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spent a little time in Baton Rouge. I know a little bit about it down there, but
yeah.
Have you ever played down there?
No, I haven't.
What?
I'd love to.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
How have you never played Lou, right? Lou's your bass player. Is that right?
Yeah.
How have you not played in Lou's area? Come on, man. I know. Look, that's going to change.
Okay.
You're going to see
right.
some changes, and I know you're not ready to talk about those changes to the general audience yet, but there's some really interesting things on your horizon outside of just new material.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of this young man. And look, we've got a couple minutes left in the segment. Maybe you want to sing a little bit for the audience? No, I don't think you would. Can you do that? You want to do that? Give somebody a little a cappella of something?
Sure.
All right, take a minute and do that.
Well, slow and steady wins the race. It's the thrill of the chase. Falling in love just ain't the same these days. It might start with a bottle of Jack, or maybe we won't need that. I gotta find a way to call her mine. I know sometimes you gotta take it slow and steady.
All right. Well, hell, if I had my applause button, I would hit my applause button right now. How exciting is that? We've had a lot of people play on this show. A lot of people have just sang just like you have on this show. It's fun. You know, one day I'm going to put together, have somebody to go through all of the musical episodes and do a whole episode of nothing but like what you just did.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because I have a mashup of most of the guests, not all of them, but I don't know. We've had 1,000 guests on the show. I have no clue. But I have about an 8.5-minute mashup of all the different people that have been on, and it's actually kind of a cool piece because you don't really hear that. And you're like, I've had this person on, that person on, whatever. But I put them together where when they're introducing themselves, where you can hear them in their own voice on this mashup. Again, that's kind of a cool piece. And I know we've got one for you. We have to update that on our mashup piece. But we're somewhere around, I think, 8.5 minutes, thereabouts. But I would like to have a show of just that. Now, I know at your show, here in our last 30 seconds or so of the segment, I know you have sort of a medley of sorts of different songs at the end. Give me 10 seconds on that real quick.
You want me to sing it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. On your song selection, real quick.
Yeah, so we do a cover tune of Stacy's Mom, and then we go into some like Hey Now You're a Rock Star, Beverly Hills, To the Window to the Wall, that kind of thing, and just keep it going, just keep it hype.
Okay, folks, that's Jason Owens. Make sure you check him out at jasonowensmusic.com for his upcoming shows, new music. Check him out again on all the streaming platforms as well. We're going to be back here in a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Without your smile, why'd I let the guys drag me out for this? You're probably at home just watching TV, and I can't stop thinking about your lips, 'cause your kisses are sweeter than this champagne. Your voice is better than the song that the DJ's playing. There's no party like you, and there's nobody that can light up this whole room. No Mardi Gras or Fiesta to compare it to. There's no party, girl. There's no party like you.
everybody. This is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, or recorded shows, which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, Deezer, you name it, we're there. You can't get away from us. Also, while you're at thesportscircus.com, make sure you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. And of course, one of those partners is Al's number one Italian beef at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Check them out online at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. Or if you're in Chicago's Little Italy, again, hop on by to 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Folks, the food is phenomenal. These are our friends. We get nothing for saying this. We just love the food, if you know what I mean. Boy, that's good stuff. Yes! All right. Welcome back to everybody at radio and TV. You know who you are. Had a last couple of fun segments with Jason Owens. Jason Owens Music. Check him out online. Jason Owens Music, country star. The guy's all over the place. Played Vegas, I don't know, about 150 times or so, maybe more, who knows. And toured all over the country for the most part, getting bigger by the minute. And if you happen to be in Las Vegas, you can always check him out on all the schedules over there. I know he's appeared at many times at the MGM Grand, the Resort World, over on the old site of the Stardust. Now there's a gigantic resort over there. If you haven't been to Vegas in a long time, the Resort World's property is magnificent. Right across the street from the Wynn and Encore. Boy, that's good stuff, folks. And Jason really packs them in. People are dancing in front of the stage and having all kinds of fun. Man, there's lots of people in front of that stage. I've got to tell you, folks, this guy is going to be doing gigantic stadium tours. He's just one of those guys, and his head is really in the right place. He's grounded. It's good stuff. And, you know, in the first segment, I was talking a little bit about the correlation between music and sport, et cetera, and so forth. And I did mention the Rose Bowl Institute. That was a really good scholarly source to mention. And I will mention this also. There are other relationships between sports and entertainment as well. And think about this. As, again, according to the Rose Bowl Institute, just as music can inspire or improve athletic performance, sport inspires musicians too. And think about this. Look, whether it's John Fogerty's Center Field, Kenny Chesney's Boys of Fall, Bob Marley's Football's Freedom, or how about Curtis Blow's basketball? Yeah, Curtis Blow, one of our friends. In fact, we have a promo piece. We've had Curtis on a number of times. Curtis, one of our favorites. And he did a piece that said, basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court. And I'm here on the Sports Circus. Boy, that's great stuff. And that's the great Curtis Blow, of course. He is the founder, the godfather, I should say, of hip-hop. And in fact, in case you don't know, for all you hip-hop guys out there and women out there, this is the guy that discovered LL Cool J. Yes! He is responsible for the first big contract for him. And Curtis was the first guy, the first rap star ever signed to a big contract. And back to Curtis Blow's basketball, or think about this, or Stomp Video with the Harlem Globetrotters, right? Musicians have long turned to sport themes for their music. How about Roy Jones Jr. from the boxing world? He's a great example of an athlete who became a musical artist. So it does go both ways. Now also, meaning sports to music and music to sports, right? And so Damn Yankees led the way in translating sports to Broadway. So big influence there, and the Broadway musicals, and there are many movies that draw on sports stories and concepts. So, I mean, look, how can and does the broader society benefit from these associations? I mean, come on, it's limitless, folks. How often do you get a sports show that talks music but really makes sense out of this too? That's why we're carrying out sports stations, music stations, talk radio stations. That's just on radio format. I mean, TV is TV, so we're all over the place there. But just the idea of tying the two together, put a nice pretty bow on it so you can open it up and really enjoy it. That's pretty cool. Now, the Rose Bowl Institute, of course, will continue to explore those and other non-performance connections between sports and music in various formats aimed at promoting the Institute's pillar values of sportsmanship, leadership, and citizenship, of course, in the process. Boy, that's really good stuff by the Rose Bowl Institute. Of course, a nice round of applause for them. But you think also, music and sports, is there really any difference between the two? I mean, that's a really good question. Think about this. From AMImusic.org, playing a musical instrument and playing sports may seem like two completely different activities, but they actually have more similarities than differences. So, look, they want to basically outline the ideas that there are similarities. And of course, the first one that comes to mind, I mean, look, I play guitar horribly and I'm a former baseball player, but the similarities go back to reps, practice, right? Both require a lot of practice just to be skilled. What about at the professional level? I mean, guys like Jason Owens, who was just on the show, look, this guy just tirelessly plays and plays and plays. And he'll play 2 shows a day. When he's here in Las Vegas, for example, this guy will play, he'll play 5 to 6 hours per day. That's a lot on the voice. And never mind having to be absolutely precision on that guitar and everything else, the big production itself. And folks, it is a big deal. So just like how athletes need to train and improve their skills, that musician, just like Jason, needs to practice every regular moment that he gets. Some moments are irregular, if you know what I mean. But honestly, they just need to keep getting those reps. I mean, it's a matter of discipline as well. I mean, sports and music require discipline and dedication, whether it's sticking to a training schedule, practicing every day, going to rehearsal. Athletes and musicians need to be disciplined to improve and achieve their goals. Like from a performance standpoint, think about this. Both involve performance in front of others, so they're on the spot. It's not like you're in a recording booth and you get to fix it in the mix. Oh, no, you don't. When you're in the middle of a game, listen, you make a mistake on the field, on the ice, or on the court, guess what? The mistake is out there. You just hope not to make so many mistakes. And the same thing goes when you're performing on stage, whether it's a small venue or a big concert hall or whatever, at all points in between. Both involve performance incentives, and you have to be able to cover up like Pee Wee Herman when he fell off his bike. I meant to do that. Well, that wasn't the case. But nonetheless, they also require teamwork. And think about the idea of a musical artist like Jason Owens, and he's got a band, right? And just like an individual athlete, well, they don't necessarily, like a boxer, for example, it's one against one. But we'll think about the team sports, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, whatever. And moving on, even pickleball these days is the same idea. Teamwork is a big, big part of it. Some types of music, like chamber music or orchestras, require large teams and big collaborations. Similarly, team sports, like I just mentioned, right? They have the common goal, right? In football, got to get that first down, got to get in the end zone. And of course, they're both physical and mentally demanding as well. It's a really big part of this whole thing. Playing sports and music is a physical activity that requires physical fitness. In case you didn't realize that, being a musician absolutely requires fitness. In case you didn't realize that. Strength, agility, focus, concentration, and possibly the slight difference might be more fine motor skills when playing an instrument. So you really can't screw that up so much. I mean, look, and also there's competition versus collaboration in both. So while they both involve performance, Sports are often focused on competition and winning, while music can also be more collaborative and focus on creating something beautiful together. But remember, you get on stage with somebody that's never played with you before, what happens? Well, I'll tell you what happens. Sometimes if you don't practice, it sounds awful. And you can't have it sound awful because everybody's going to know. Did you rehearse together? Did you ever play? I mean, look, there's time commitments. That's part of that rehearsal, part of getting those reps. Playing a sport can require a significant time commitment with practices, games, and travel. They both require travel and practice, and games would be gigs. And the same thing in music. While playing an instrument, as I just mentioned, also requires practice, and it can be more flexible and can be done in their own time sometimes. But remember, when you got a band, there's band members. There's a lot going on here. So, folks, it is no picnic when you're out there. I mean, there are some differences, and there's some rules. Sports have defined rules and regulations. Think about football with their seemingly 10,000 rules. I'm not really sure how they have so many rules for such a relatively simple game, but it doesn't really matter. The reality is there's a lot more rules on the field or on the court or on the ice, and as outlined, both sports and music have more similarities than not. So if you think that it's easier to do one than it is the other, you are sadly mistaken. And listen, I could pick up a bowling ball, for example. I picked up a bowling ball a year and a half ago, and I bowled a perfect game. Now, I used to bowl when I was a kid a lot, and I quit when I was 14 years of age. But I bowled a perfect game after just a few practices, whatever. I was able to throw 12 strikes in a row. Yes, thank you very much. A shameless plug for myself. But my point is, yes, it's hard to do, but when you have the mechanics, it's just kind of like riding a bike, man. You never forget. So I guess what you really got to think about is the idea of where do we go with the music? And let's just say you're playing a live set somewhere and you don't really know where you're going with it, but you know where you're going with it, if you know what I mean. These are some of the things you've got to think about. And quite honestly, folks, I'll tell you, it is no picnic picking up a guitar and playing one. I can't imagine what it's like to play the keyboards or play the drums. I mean, what if you're offbeat? What if you got to scratch your nose in the middle of some important part, right? You're doing a drum fill or something, or maybe you're on a bridge or whatever, right before the chorus. And what if your nose is itching or something? What if you got to scratch your back or your ankle or something, and you got a foot pedal kicking? I don't know. There's a lot going on here, folks. Trust me, it's a lot harder than it looks, and certainly is a lot harder than it sounds. All right, folks, we're going to see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Be heaven sent. Red lip stain, still there from yesterday. You and me, we go together. There's just no other way.
You're my whiskey.
You're my wine. I wanna feel your body next to mine, tangled up in the bed sheets, mixing Chardonnay and country. Get me tipsy tonight, drink you up until the sunrise. Wanna wake up with you by my side, mix a whiskey